What's going on, Workforce? Brian here, and welcome to RPG Season. It really kind of feels that way because we're going into the Tokyo Game Show, which is going to be starting September 20th. That's only a week away, and Final Fantasy XIV is definitely going to have a presence there, but there's already information coming out. We covered a little bit about it with Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles coming to PS4 and confirmed for the Switch. In fact, we have a trailer. What we're going to do in this video is we've got a lot of interesting little announcements that I thought I'd share, especially because I love RPGs, and guess what? I'm going to go ahead and share this with you and give my thoughts on them. So first up, it's really interesting, especially for a long time Final Fantasy XI fans. For Final Fantasy Dissidia, which a game, to be completely fair, I don't play, we're getting the Arch Duke of Juno himself. He is coming into the game, and honestly, I think as an 11 player, this immediately makes me go, man, I would die for the experiment that is the remake of Final Fantasy XI or a remaster of that edition. Look at just how amazing he looks in this trailer itself. Now, obviously, Final Fantasy XI is getting a mobile edition, we assume, because it's working its way, and we get a tease at least once a year. So who knows what's going to happen with that. But I thought I'd like to share this information about Final Fantasy Dissidia, which again is a game I haven't played, but the Final Fantasy piece of it is really quite interesting and fascinating. So obviously they continue to update this with more and more characters. He's coming to the arcades in Japan, and then apparently by October we're going to see him on the PS4 edition of this game. So guys, let me know what you think about this news. So earlier this year, they announced that the Last Remnant is leaving Steam, and this was an old kind of built around the Xbox 360 game. This was like really back in the early 360 days when I think actually Microsoft maybe cared about Japan developers. Maybe they still do, I don't know, but they're remastering the Last Remnant here, and that in and of itself I think is going to be interesting. This is a game I've tooled around with, but really didn't dive too much into it, but just the little bit of tease of the visuals that we got, really fascinating. I think it looks beautiful. We'll have to kind of follow it and see what happens. Okay, so Crystal Chronicles teaser's trailer's out. It is the original GameCube version. This, in and of itself, I think is really quite fascinating. I'm actually very excited about it. It's still like that one mechanic with the Moogle pot protecting you from the miasma and the hearts piece. All in all, picking it up on Switch. Can't wait to play with you guys. We'll find out more here next week. Okay, and finally, we've got the Tokyo Game Show and Final Fantasy XIV's appearance there. They've got the business day and the public days. As per typically it starts off with business and then it's open to the public. I'm really happy that E3 started doing very similar things. So there's going to be various different events. They're going to have the Rathalos Challenge, and it seems like there's going to be a message from Yoshi P, and that's going to be Saturday around 5:50 like specific time. So my time is going to be 11:50. An interesting time. We're going to have to see what they end up doing, if there's any real information coming out of this. I highly suspect, because of the nature of the timing of 4.4, just a couple of days before this really kicks off, that we're going to see a lot of interviews and various things related to 4.4 in that conversation, and obviously shifting focus to the next big event, which is FanFest in November. We're sure to get some live letters and some mid patches, but this is going to kind of kick off kind of the wind down of this year before we really build up into next year, into the next year's expansion. So there's a lot, I think, that we're going to start hopefully getting a clearer picture of. We'll all have ideally played through the story at this point to be able to kind of talk about that as well. But anyway, for anybody out there, TGS is just such a fun time. I think for me as a fan of Japanese RPGs, Square Enix is going to have a huge presence. The question is that when will Microsoft ever attend, if they're serious about getting... I don't think they'll ever get the market, but it does, you do feel it for them whenever they don't show up and have a presence in the Japanese market. You kind of feel like you end up missing out on a lot of games if you're an Xbox fan. Guys, for Work To Game, my name's Brian. Thanks for watching this. The general thing is that it seems like we're going to have a lot of really interesting games on the horizon. It's interesting to see some of these remastered games coming, and the fact that we'll have to wait and see where they end up. The fact that we're seeing Last Remnant being remastered, just for PS4, doesn't seem like there's a Switch edition in the works yet. It seems like, some of those decisions, I'm wondering why. And it's interesting to see with Last Remnant. Did you play it? Was it successful in your minds? It wasn't anything that necessarily hooked me right from the start, as a kind of an early 360 HD games. That was Square kind of figuring that out. Then at the end of the day, Final Fantasy XIV is having a presence. Crystal Chronicles is coming back, and who knows what else is going to be announced. Typically, they really kind of like to focus in on it. We'll obviously wait and see. We'll have to talk about it. But for Work To Game, my name is Brian. Thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Whoa! Thank you so much for watching. There should be another video like over here.
Or there.
Or a vlog somewhere around here. And the subscribe button is below with the contact info.
Here we go.